Today, Canto XVII of Dante's Purgatorio, in which the poet issues from that thick vapor, and soon after his fancy represents to him in lively portraiture some noted examples of anger. This imagination is dissipated by the appearance of an angel who marshals them onward to the fourth cornice, on which the sin of sloth is purged. And here Virgil shows him that this vice proceeds from a defect of love, and that all love can be only of two sorts, either natural or of the soul, of which sorts the former is always right, but the latter may err either in respect of object or of degree. Now, on Kurt reads a poem, Canto number 17 of Dante's Purgatorio. Remember, reader, if e'er in the Alps a mist o'ertook thee, through which thou couldst see not otherwise than through its membrane mole, how, when the vapours humid and condensed begin to dissipate themselves, the sphere of the sun feebly enters in among them. And thy imagination will be swift in coming to perceive how I re-saw the sun at first, that was already setting. Thus, to the faithful footsteps of my master, mating mine own, I issued from that cloud, to raise already dead on the low shores. O thou imagination that dost steal us so from without sometimes, that man perceives not, although around may sound 1,000 trumpets, who moveth thee, if sense impel thee not? Moves thee a light which in the heaven takes form by self, or by a will that downward guides it? Of her impiety who changed her form into the bird that most delights in singing, in my imagining appeared the trace. And hereupon my mind was so withdrawn within itself that from without there came nothing that then might be received by it. Then reigned within my lofty fantasy one crucified, disdainful and ferocious in countenance, and even thus was dying. Around him were the great Ahasuerus, Esther his wife, and the just Mordecai, who was in word and action so entire. And even in this image burst asunder of its own self in fashion of a bubble, in which the water it was made of fails. There rose up in my vision a young maiden, bitterly weeping, and she said, O Queen, why hast thou wished in anger to be naught? Thou'st slain thyself, Lavinia, not to lose. Now hast thou lost me, I am she who mourns, mother, at thine ere at another's ruin. As sleep is broken, when upon a sudden new light strikes in upon the eyelids closed, and broken quivers ere it dieth wholly, so this imagining of mine fell down as soon as the effulgence smote my face, greater by far than what is in our wont. I turned me round to see where I might be, when said a voice, Here is the passage up, which from all other purposes removed me, and made my wish so full of eagerness to look and see who was it that was speaking. It never rests till meeting face to face, but as before the sun, which quells the sight, and in its own excess its figure veils. Even so my power was insufficient here. This is a spirit divine, who in the way of going up directs us without asking, and who with his own light himself conceals. He does with us as man doth with himself, for he who sees the need and waits the asking malignly leans already towards denial. Accord we now our feet to such inviting, let us make haste to mount ere it grow dark, for then we could not till the day return. Thus my conductor said, and I and he together turned our footsteps to a stairway, and I, as soon as the first step was reached, near me perceived a motion as of wings, and fanning in the face, and saying, Beati pacifici, who are without ill anger. Already over us were so uplifted the latest sunbeams which the night pursues, that upon many sides the stars appeared. O manhood mine, why dost thou vanish so? I said within myself, for I perceived the vigor of my legs was put in truce. We at the point were where no more ascends the stairway upward, and were motionless, even as a ship which at the shore arrives. And I gave heed a little, if I might hear aught whatsoever in the circle new, then to my master turned me round and said, Say, my sweet father, what delinquency is purged here in the circle where we are? Although our feet may pause, pause not thy speech. And he to me, The love of good, remiss in what it should have done, is here restored, here plied again the ill-belated oar. But still more openly to understand, turn unto me thy mind, and thou shalt gather some profitable fruit from our delay. Neither creator nor a creature ever, son, he began, was destitute of love natural or spiritual, and thou know'st it. The natural was ever without error, but err the other may by evil object, or by too much, or by too little vigor. While in the first it well directed is, and in the second moderates itself, it cannot be the cause of sinful pleasure. But when to ill it turns, and with more care or lesser than it ought, runs after good, 'gainst the Creator works his own creation. Hence thou mayst comprehend that love must be the seed within yourselves of every virtue and every act that merits punishment. Now, inasmuch as never from the welfare of its own subject can love turn its sight, from their own hatred all things are secure. And since we cannot think of any being standing alone, nor from the first divided of hating him, is all desire cut off. Hence if, discriminating, I judge well, the evil that one loves is of one's neighbor, and this is born in three modes in your clay. There are who, by abasement of their neighbor, hope to excel, and therefore only long that from his greatness he may be cast down. There are who power, grace, honor, and renown fear they may lose because another rises, thence are so sad that the reverse they love. And there are those whom injury seems to chafe, so that it makes them greedy for revenge, and such must needs shape out another's harm. This threefold love is wept for down below. Now of the other will I have thee hear, that runneth after good with measure faulty. Each one confusedly a good conceives, wherein the mind may rest and longeth for it. Therefore to overtake it each one strives. If languid love to look on this attracts you, or in attaining unto it this cornice after just penitence torments you for it. There's other good that does not make man happy. 'Tis not felicity, 'tis not the good essence of every good, the fruit and root. The love that yields itself too much to this above us is lamented in three circles, but how tripartite it may be described I say not, that thou seek it for thyself. Thus ends Canto XVII of Dante's Purgatorio. Hey, thanks for watching. Have a great day.